After each good makeup, there comes the moment of atonement, cleaning the brushes. Today, we will discuss how to do it properly. Hello YouTube, my name is Vesta and I'm a student in a beauty academy working towards my professional certification as a makeup artist. Here on this channel, I share what I learned, my mistakes, observations, and hopefully progress. Stay with me if you would like to learn some new things about beauty and style. Let's quickly have a look of what we have today. Here is a metal palette, very dirty, a beauty blender and a powder puff, a few synthetic brushes, both round and flat, classical natural bristle brush. I'm showing this to you because cleaning of every brush is a little bit specific. The idea is the same, but there are little tiny differences that will help you save your brushes and make them serve you longer. First, let's talk about cleaning agents. There are a few that you might use. First of all, it's a store-bought brush cleaner, which is sometimes a bit costly, but it's the best way how you can clean the brushes safely and very sanitary. The most common way to do it is a DIY solution. I have mine right here. It's about 80% dishwasher soap, 20% of baby oil, and a few drops of rose oil just to make my brushes smell nice. Why we use this solution and not just a dishwash soap? Think of it as cleaning your hair. First you use the soap and then you condition it. Same goes with the brushes. If you don't use oil, the brush won't last as long as it could have. So take your oil as a conditioner. Note that vegetable oil won't work. The best one is the baby oil. And before each use, you just shake it up. One of your consideration about the cleaning agents will be using a standard hand soap. Try to refrain from doing so because the soap will dry the brushes and it won't be as harsh as alcohol, but it will still dry them. I know some people also use hair shampoo. I think this is also an option. I personally never tried, but it seems that it's going to be all right. Maybe use a little bit of conditioner after and of course rinse it off. Another cleaning agent you need to be very careful with. It's pure alcohol. In my case, it's 96% rubbing alcohol. You can also use any spirit, but alcohol of 70% and higher is normally better. What you should know about alcohol is that it dries your brushes a lot. So you want to use them in a few cases. First of all, when you are somewhere on the go and the brush is really dirty and you really have to clean it, okay, you can clean it with alcohol because it's a very efficient way to do so. Just don't do it often. Do it only when there's no other way to clean. And also, this was actually a surprise to me. They didn't teach me this in a beauty school, so I had to realize that by myself. Everything that is metal, you won't be able to clean with the soap, with our solution. It just won't go away, or you would have to rub it with the sponges and it will leave scratches. Actually, I have my scratches here because this is how I was experimenting with this palette. It's my first ever palette. Alcohol is an amazing way to clean it, and of course nothing will happen to the metal. I would also use alcohol for some of very dirty synthetic brushes. Synthetic brushes, they would tolerate alcohol much better, and of course my spatula. So with this knowledge at hand, let's get to work. First thing we do is obviously we wash our hands. There are a few different techniques how to wash the brushes. If the brush is round or fluffy, you want to clean it in a rotating motion. If the brush is flat, you want to go flat. I might either put the soap in the container or on my palm. Let's try both ways. I have a little bit of it here. Take the wet brush and I start rotating. When I see enough foam, that's pretty much enough. This brush wasn't really dirty. I used it only once with translucent powder. That's why you don't see any residue. I did this. I put it aside for now. Now I'm taking my flat brush, and this one is really dirty because I was using it for foundation. Maybe this one will need 2 goes, we shall see. When I do it this way, I make sure that I don't break the bristles. What I might do though is just go very carefully like this in between. Another way how to do it, and this is also convenient, I would just put my solution right here. Then I will take my dirty brush, and without pressing it against the walls or the bottom, very carefully and smoothly, I just rotate it. It already looks pretty clean, but again, I will give it a second rinse just to make sure everything is washed off. It's pretty much like with your hair when you wash it twice because you have a lot of products in it. So with the first wash, you wash out the products. The second wash, is just the second wash. Here I have a spoolie. Normally it would be a one-time use spoolie, but this one is my personal one. I wet it in our soap and I go along the brushes like this. Some brushes will be particularly dirty. For example, these two, they're both synthetic. This one is dirty in lipstick, and this lipstick is very long lasting, so it's really not easy to get out. I can still paint it on my palm, and it will paint like this pretty much forever. The spoolie, you don't see it, but it's full of wax. We will start with the same process with the soap. Give it a few runs, but it won't clean it perfectly well. Alright, I washed these brushes 3 times, but they are still pretty dirty, but those 3 runs really helped. Now I will take a tissue, try to get off very carefully we also do it along the brush. Still, there's so much dirt in it still, but I will try my best to remove everything I can. Same here. This way it's already better, but here, where comes alcohol. It will really help dissolve the products and remove them. With especially stubborn products, even alcohol doesn't work at the first time, so maybe you will have to do it 2 or 3 times. Alright, visually it is clean, and I think it's clean to touch. This one is done. Same for the synthetic one, and I'm not very afraid to alcoholize my synthetic brush because they can handle it. This time I soak it really well. And I try to go all the way in between as much as I can. Even though I do it quickly, I'm making sure I do it carefully so I'm not damaging anything. Be aware that when you start using brushes, they might lose their original color, especially when the brush is white. It won't stay white for long. It's fine, you cannot do anything here. It doesn't mean it's dirty. For example, this brush, I always use it for red lipsticks. So regardless of how much I try, it's tinted a little bit of red. It's fine. It's just, it absorbed the color, but there's nothing wrong with the brush. There is no product in it. Let's look at this palette. We can try to clean it with a soap, but trust me, it will take you a long time and it's not very efficient. Let's take a tissue, just spray. See how easily it goes off. If you're at home, try to do it with a soap first to really feel it, how good it is with alcohol. And to make it even more perfect, because you can still see the lines, I will take a clean towel and done. And lastly, when we want to clean the puffs and beauty blenders, first of all, if you are working with clients, you should remember that once you use it on one person, you don't use it on a different one. Normally, you would want to throw these away, but I understand these are good products and that's very wasteful and really bad for environment to throw it out every time. So if you have a permanent customer, you can just have a Ziploc specifically for this customer if it's a returning one. You just wash it properly, dry it, and put it in the Ziploc specifically for this customer. The way we do it is pretty much the same as with the natural bristle brush. There will be a lot of foam and you need to make sure that you get everything out. Also, always trust your fingers. This one looks clean and with no soap, but when I touch it, I can still feel it being a little bit soapy, so I'd rather wash it again. Once we're done with this, we want to carefully squeeze out the water and lay it flat on a clean towel and leave it be overnight. You don't want to dry them in a standing position because the water will drain down and over time it will dissolve the glue that connects these two parts of the brushes. It's not particularly very awful, but you just will have to glue them with hot glue or instant glue. This happens to me a lot because I wash my brushes a lot every time after I do makeup. That's why, of course, the glue dissolves with me much faster. Just remember, clean brushes are 50% of successful makeup. Cleaning them properly will ensure that they serve you as long as they possibly can. Maybe one day we will talk more about the dangers of having dirty brushes, but I will wrap up for today. Thank you for staying with me. I hope it was useful. If so, please consider subscribing, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.